We have, the opportunity and the privilege to speak about two young men who will be inducted into this year's Fork Union Athletic Hall of Fame. John Dorsey and Dale Solomon. Coach here to talk about Dale, who's an outstanding basketball player here. John Dorsey came to us, I think, in the 77 or 78 season, was here for 2 years, came out of Maryland at the time, was a undersized athlete who had an unbelievable drive and a desire to be really, really good. John played here 2 years, 1 year as an undergraduate, graduated 1 year as a postgraduate, went to the University of Connecticut, where he was an All-American, a 1AA All-American. He was 2 years Defensive Player of the Year in that conference, and then went on and played for the Green Bay Packers for a number of years, where he was an outstanding linebacker and special teams player. Then was able to get into the administrative part of the NFL. Started out as a college scout, worked for a number of teams, ended up with Green Bay, became director of their college scouting, stayed there for many years, was very successful, and just about 2 years ago became the general manager of the Kansas City Chiefs, where he is currently serving. And John, and everything he's done, he has been a credit to Fork Union. He's been an overachiever everywhere. He came as an athlete that was a little bit undersized and a little bit thin, a little bit maybe not quite as fast as the next guy, and has parlayed that drive into an unbelievable career in college and the NFL. And he, I think, will be an outstanding addition to our Hall of Fame this year. And Fletch, I know you've got some things to say about Dale.
I've got some things to say about Dale. I think you remember Dale pretty well. Weren't you here when he came?
I taught Dale Solomon.
That's what
Coach.
I thought. Yeah.
Yes.
I thought you did. That's the reason I made that comment.
Yeah.
I think, Mickey, you've seen most of the basketball players here. I think this guy, Dale Solomon, was as good as anybody we've ever had here. It's just incredible, some of the stuff he's done and has done. I remember going down and doing this junior prep football. You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And I was throwing passes, and every day somebody'd come down there and say, "Dadgone, Coach, have you been up in the gym and seen a guy named Dale Solomon?" I said, "I hadn't seen Dale Solomon." I said, "I've seen basketball players before." I said, "You need to look at this guy." Well, there was a guy down there in Richmond that was a very good basketball coach, and he was up sort of scouting around. And he said, "Coach, have you seen this guy up in the gym?" I said, "No, I'm down here throwing passes to junior prep football players." He said, "Well, you need to get up there and look at that guy." So on the first day of practice, when I got up there, I said, there's something different about this guy. As a matter of fact, Mickey, I just finished playing in the ACC, playing against those guys there. I said, there's something different about him. So anyway, make a long story short, he was a phenomenal player, and he had a great attitude. And I think that he was one of the best, maybe the best here. I say that because how many times does Kentucky come to Fork Union and recruit a basketball player? Doesn't happen very much. So anyway, they came in. I'll never forget this. Mickey, you may have known something about this. We were in that room. We sat down. Joe Hall was there. That was the coach at that particular time. And he said, "Dale, I've heard all about you." He said, "I'm losing a forward." He said, "I would like to have a forward like you at Kentucky." He said, "I've seen some films on you." He said, "I know that you can start this coming year." And he said, "I want you to think about that." And he said, "Another thing that's going on, we've got the Olympics this year." This was the Jimmy Carter Olympics. You remember that, which did not end in much, since no one went over to the Olympics. But anyway, they tried to convince him there, and they gave him certain things that would happen and so forth and so on. And finally, Joe Hall, who was a coach, said, "So what do you think now, Dale?" He said, "I think I'm going to Virginia Tech." And to be honest with you, I thought I was about to fall out. I was about to fall out. I said, I can't believe he said that. So, making a long story short, he was one of the most workable people that you've ever seen. And I remember this distinctly. We were down there, and I said, Dale, you're the only one that can take our equipment, fold it in a box, and put it up on those top lockers.
Yes, sir.
He said, sure, I'll do that, Coach. So anyway, we got through that situation, and I thought, I can't believe that he's going to Virginia Tech and not going to Kentucky. And I said, Dale, I said, what do you think about this? You want to change your mind and go? No, he said, I want to go to Virginia Tech. And he said, I just think I can make it there. But he said, I hope I can do one thing. Now, this is hard to believe. He said, if I go to Tech, I just hope I don't have to play on the JV. And I about fell out in the floor. Yeah. The JV. I said, Dale, I think you'll be able to play on the JV. As a matter of fact, I think you'll be able to play on the varsity. So I called Charlie Moyer right after that, and I said, Charlie, your boy down here thinks that he's going to have a hard time making the varsity. He said, are you kidding me? He said, we're going to open up with Buffalo State. He said, if I start Dale Solomon against Buffalo State and play him the whole game, he will have 40. Well, he didn't play him the whole game. He played him half. He had 20 at half and sat down, and I heard it on the radio. That was before you had television even. I had television. But anyway, he was one of the most wonderful people to coach that I know. And here's a little stat here, which we had on this thing here. Top 10 all-time in points. This is at Virginia Tech. Points per game, field goal percentage, foul shots, rebounds. Virginia Tech Hall of Fame, All-Metro, 79 through 82, All-Metro Freshman of the Year, 1979, Metro Conference Tournament most valuable player, holds record for points in the season by a freshman, 534. Now he's an ACC tournament legend. They've blended in Tech. So that's the story on Dale Solomon. And Mickey will tell you, he was a nice kid in class, never caused any problems, just did what he was supposed to do. And that's sort of what we want all of them to do, right, Mickey? Yeah. But anyway, that's what I got to say about Dale Solomon. And I'll say this. I think he's been here about 8 times. He's been here a lot. Yeah.
I think with both of them, I had an opportunity to teach Dale, to be around John as an athlete. Both of them had one thing in common. Well, really two. Both of them were very humble individuals. Both of them had a great work ethic that they, I think, honed a little bit here, but believed that the only way they were going to succeed was to outwork other people. And I think in both cases, it's proven. Dale's success at Virginia Tech, success in Europe as a great basketball player in Europe, John's success in college, NFL, and now in administration in the NFL. It's just two great guys that came to Fork Union probably not believing they were quite as good as their physical talent indicated, and worked really, really hard to go a long, long way. And that's a great they'll be great ambassadors of Fork Union as they go forward.
Well, Mickey, it's true. Same thing happened to you with football. You've had so many guys come in here. I remember when Eddie George was just small, and he was running his mouth, and I said something to him, and he cut that off. And that's sort of what happens at Fork Union. It takes people that are not quite there, and they're turned around, and they do the things that they know they should do eventually, and because of that, they make an impact on other people whenever they go to a different program.
Right.
When they go to a different program, it changes maybe another team or whatever the case may be.
Right.